Hello, everyone. Welcome into the show. My name is Dan Hafner, and I have a very interesting thought that I would just kind of want to run with today. It's going to be a solo episode, might not be as long, but there is this a bunch of stories I've been coming up, or not coming up with, but seeing recently and hearing about this 996 trend. And I kind of wanted to give my thoughts and just kind of maybe ramble a little bit on this just because it's something that I've been thinking a lot about and kind of analyzing, not only from that macro perspective of what this trend actually is, but kind of how it applies to what I'm seeing, and kind of interested to hear what other people have to say. Having another guest on the show here later today that I'm interested to get his thoughts on. But if you haven't heard of this 996 trend, it came, I believe, from, I think it started in China, but it's found its way over to the US. And it's basically this idea that you start at 9 o'clock in the morning, you work till 9 o'clock at night, 6 days a week, hence the 996 things, right? So I think there's even a company literally called 996 because that's just kind of what their employees, what they do, right? And here's my thoughts on this. This is a very interesting trend, right? Because I think, like, especially during COVID and even the pre-COVID years, there was kind of this um this whole push for work-life balance. And I used to work in a place where there was ping pong tables and those little like basketball game things and like all kinds of different stuff that was kind of seen as a very like that can be a very cool thing in a work environment to be able to have those stress relieving things. They can be very big distractions, obviously, um, but they really kind of can help boost morale and do those kind of things. But now there's really this shift to, it's almost like the pendulum has swung back to this, like, you have to grind, you have to push, you have to perform and pursue the biggest things out there, especially in this tech space. And a lot of it is driven with this. It's really FOMO is really what's driving this, is what it seems like. It's like there's these things, these advancements in AI, these companies are moving and pushing stuff so fast that if you literally take your eye off the ball for more than a day, you're almost behind. Like you're literally out of the game almost, right? Or at least people think that. I would tend to disagree on that a little bit, but then again, I don't work for a giant tech company with a huge overly bloated salary with all these types of things. Like, I work for myself. I am my own boss, right? And I have a small business, so it's just a different world. But I do say that in the context of, like, I have also noticed this with myself and with my businesses. I feel behind also. I feel like I have to be working more and more and more. There are more clients coming in the door. Like, our business is growing. We're getting more and more work to be able to be done, which is a good thing. But then it also is kind of like we're kind of at the point where our systems are breaking. Like, can we take on like a whole new host of new clients without things breaking as they are? Like, that's an upper limit to a business system, right? And that doesn't really fully apply in the context of what I'm talking about. But um, yeah, I have a lot of interesting thoughts on this 996 culture. Like, on one hand, it's like I'm happy to see that something like this is coming back. I think a lot of our generation, at least my generation and the millennial, maybe younger generation, kind of did get a little bit complacent in kind of in a way of, and I'm speaking broadly with a huge paintbrush, so don't take any of this personally, but I think there is this concept, or this perception in the world that, like, our generation is a little bit lazier. I don't tend to agree with that. I think we're very hardworking and very ready to go and willing to do things out there in the world. um but there was always this kind of entitlement idea of, like, hey, we went to college, we got degrees, we deserve this job with this level of benefits and pay and whatever, without having put in any actual real world, experience. And now what does 996 do? That gets you experience real freaking quick, my friend. Like you're grinding away, you're doing this type of stuff, you're putting in the time and the man hours to be able to figure stuff out and have that experience, and you're compressing time, right? I mean, if you do 996, right, 12 times 6 is 72. If you're that's almost two 40-hour work weeks inside of 1 week, right? I mean, if you just worked 40 hours a week, you're literally getting twice the experience in half the time. You're literally compressing time, right? So in a way, I think that's a very good thing. I think it really, like, that's what America was built on. That's what our, like, maybe not, like, I'm not talking about, we weren't built on like grinding into the bone, but like our country and our modern world was built on hard work. It was built on like grinding out, doing these things, doing the hard work in the places that not a lot of people see. You don't get credit for. You don't maybe get the shiny awards for things. Excuse me. Um, but that's what builds companies. Like that's what builds successful things. And I'm glad to see us as kind of a mentality and in an industry kind of getting back to like, yeah, like let's do that kind of stuff. But on the same side, I also have this thought of like, well, isn't AI kind of like supposed to get us away from that? Like you hear all these stories about how AI is just going to make us so much more productive or even eliminate jobs totally. But what do you actually see happening? You see this shift towards, well, no, I can't work less. I have to work more because I have to keep up with all this stuff. I have to figure these things out. I'm adapting to this whole new world of how things are functioning and working. So, who do you believe? Do you believe the people that say that AI is going to replace all our jobs in 5 years, or do you believe that like what you actually see and what you're actually experiencing, if that's the same or if that's different? Like what do you believe? What are you seeing and experiencing inside of your job, inside of your business, inside of your experience, right? That's what I tend to fall on. I don't tend to buy all the stories of what people are saying or what the hype train is, because I live every single day. I do business every single day. I see this world every single day, and I think, okay, yeah, that aligns, that makes sense, or that one might actually be full of shit. Like I'm not really sure that that's totally accurate, right? Like you kind of get what I'm saying here, but um so that's kind of where my mind goes, is like, man, isn't that like kind of the opposite of what we're trying to achieve with AI? Like we're trying to outsource a lot of this low level work that kind of takes up a lot of our time, so we can then do, like, we could work 30 hours a week and still get the same amount done if AI can handle 10 hours of that, right? Um, but it seems like we're going in the opposite direction, which is just it's a very, very weird paradigm to me as I look at this, you know. And then finally, I will say the 996 mentality. I still like kind of what that does, like just as a small side note from like a biblical perspective, right? At least people are taking a day off. At least we're having a Sabbath day included in there, which is kind of cool. Is like kind of to see, because that's, I believe that's how we were designed. Especially if you go into entrepreneurship and you have, like a Christian background and faith in that kind of stuff, you start to see that like we really were designed to work 6 days rather than this 5 day artificial work week that a lot of people are used to. Like Saturday is a gift. Saturday is a gift, especially even if you work full time and you're trying to start a side hustle or jump into your own business. Like Saturday is a gift. Now I know a lot of people have families, and I'm gonna have my first child here soon in the summer, and like you want to do other things and you want to have time for family and time for other stuff. But if you're not in that place and you don't have a family or not married yet or whatever the case might be, like Saturday is a great opportunity to just work some more instead of going in doing something fun instead of like you can put aside a whole nother day for that. Excuse me. Do you really need 2 days of that? Like it really comes down to how you want your lifestyle to be. I'm not telling anyone what they should and shouldn't do, but I just kind of wanted to throw that in there as I saw like this 996 thing, because at least it's not 997. Like then I think we'd have a real problem. Like if you're working 12 hours a day every single day without any breaks, like you can only do that for so long. Now, I do have less sympathy for people who are like, oh my gosh, this 70-hour work week is killing me. I'm like, I mean, come on, like, I've been doing those for years. My wife has literally done. She's a doctor, so people in the medical field they can work over 100-hour weeks, and they're saving lives. Okay, they're dealing with life and death situations. What are we doing in the tech field, right? Like coding, like working on software. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's not a lot of, there's a little bit more pressure in those kind of environments. You know what I mean? So I don't have a lot of sympathy for when people are like, oh my God, I worked 60 hours this week. It's like, yeah, like that can be a lot. It can be mentally draining. I get that. But also think about people in other, roles or other places like EMS people and, just people in whole different areas of the world and of industries that are working maybe just as much as you, maybe even more than you, and have more stressful things on their plate. So like, you know what I mean? Like I tend to have less sympathy for people like, oh, I'm working all these hours and doing all this stuff. It's like, well, like then don't do it. I don't know what to tell you there. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of uh, it's kind of like don't shoot yourself in the foot in some ways. But anyway, I'm curious. I'm curious on your thoughts. Maybe give this a think over. Like, what do you feel about the 996 mentality? Do you think it is? Do you think it is good? Do you think it is bad? Do you think it's a phase? Do you think it's a lasting thing? Do you Are you confused by it, kind of like me, as someone who's like AI should be helping with this, but it seems to not be. So give this a think. Send me any voice notes or any emails that you might want to flesh this out with. I'm happy to have anyone on the show to maybe talk about this a little bit. Um, it's a very, very interesting phenomenon that I am still following along with, and still, and again, I'm seeing this in my own life as well. So, very interesting thing that's happening in this world right now. So yeah, that's all my thoughts for this. I hope you enjoyed this episode and got some food for thought at least. Feel free to do your own research, look into this thing. I don't have any. There's a couple sources I looked up, but they're just random Google articles. You know what I mean? So um, look into your own stuff, do your own research, and search your own soul on what you think all of this means. Not only for the tech industry, but maybe an industry near you, a job near you, right? Because it's a very interesting thing that's happening. So anyway, that is all for this episode, guys. I appreciate you all joining. Thank you very much. As always, please like and subscribe to the show and the channel, and I always appreciate that. Talk to you guys next time. See ya.
Thanks for tuning in to Tech Bites, your go-to show for software business and technology. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated with our latest episodes, insights, and stories. Hungry for more? Dive deeper into the world of no-code by visiting dapanacode.com. Your journey to building amazing software without coding skills starts there. Connect with like-minded creators and unlock a world of resources tailored just for you. Subscribe now. Explore Dapper No Code and let's innovate together.